Hi everyone, Ben here, and today we're looking at the newly released Via Rail rebuilt F40PH-2D from Rapido trains. I've personally waited over a year for these locomotives to be released, so it is really exciting to have these come out. Via Rail's 6400 series F40PH-2 are 4-axle passenger locomotives built by GMDD in the late 1980s. They are similar to Amtrak's F40PH locomotives, but there are a few key differences, such as lights, fuel tank, air reservoir, and battery box placements. Via Rail's F40s were rebuilt between 2006 and 2012, and the model we're looking at today represents the rebuilt version that you would usually see on Via Rail's passenger services throughout Canada. The key spotting feature of the rebuilt F40PH-2 is the rear platform of the locomotive has been replaced by a HEP generator and a slight bulge at the rear of the locomotive. Rapido's model features the correct rebuilt car body dimensions, separately applied detail parts such as handrails, grab irons, windshield wipers, horns, antenna, and underbody pipes. Photo-etched metal parts for the vents are also used whenever possible. Under the shell is a nicely weighted die-cast chassis with a cam motor and dual flywheels. Models with factory sound also include a 21-pin ESU LokSound Select decoder with dual iPhone speakers. This includes sounds recorded from the real Via F40PH-2, plus a total of 6 different lighting functions to play around with. In order to disassemble the locomotive, remove the coupler boxes at each end with a Phillips screwdriver. Pull the coupler boxes out, then gently spread the shell outward on each side, and it should separate from the chassis. Note that there are 2 tabs on the chassis on each side of the locomotive. While testing the locomotive, I discovered while the lights and motor functions work correctly on the locomotive, there are no sounds coming out of it even after a few resets. I eventually removed the decoder and discovered that the 2 speakers have been installed incorrectly at the factory. The first speaker was wired to both the positive connections on the locomotive's motherboard, while the second speaker was wired to both the negative connections on the motherboard. Neither of the 2 speakers worked. I disconnected the 2 incorrect wires and resoldered them to the correct position. At this point in time, I also found out that the ESU decoder sounds were not loaded correctly at the factory. It needs to be rewritten or replaced by Rapido trains. To make sure my speaker repair is working, I tested them with a decoder from a different locomotive. So do note that the following clip contains U25C sounds from a TCS decoder and not the F40PH sounds from the factory ESU decoder. The iPhone speakers are very nice sounding. The shell of the locomotive is nicely done. Paint is evenly applied, and separation lines are very crisp. The pad printing lettering are clearly legible, and the positioning is accurate. The fans and vents on the roof are covered with etched metal parts and are see-through, which is very nice. The lift rings on the roof and air hoses, cut levers at each end of the locomotive, are attached securely to the shell. All of the handrails and grab irons are installed correctly, and they are straight. The clear insect shield and clear windows are done nicely. I also especially like the painted cab interior. There are no parts that are loose or missing from the shell. The underbody has freestanding air reservoirs, fuel tank, battery box, and piping installed. One side of the rear truck has chains. All of the wheels are at the correct M and RA width. The ESU decoder drives the motor very smoothly at low speeds, and the motor is fairly powerful. However, as the sound files are not working on my example, I will have to wait until it is fixed by Rapido. I will make another video that outlines the sound and lighting functions of this locomotive when it has been repaired. Thanks for watching the first half of my Rapido rebuilt F40PH-2 review, and I will see you next time.